Sorry for that. Yeah. So there is a lot of discussions. This particular word SD-WAN is rumored in the IT market. People discuss about it. People hear about it. People listen about it. People read about it. So we really wanted to discuss on SD-WAN. Is it a hype or a future? And we are from Chaturmanas Consultants Private Limited. So let me quickly go through the agenda for today's discussion, and then we will continue. Voice is not audible. Am I not audible? I'll just increase my volume as well. Is it the same thing for other channels? Please confirm.
Hi Santosh, Prashant here. I can hear you.
Great. So Arun, can you? Yeah, you can hear. Thanks guys for confirming. So agenda for today is introduction. So because this is the first event that we are conducting on the meetup, so I will take an opportunity to introduce ourselves in couple of minutes, and then we will have an interactive discussion on the topic by two of our experts on the topic SD-WAN, a hype or the future, hype or the future, and then we will open up for the questions and answers. So you can write your questions on the chat, which we will definitely address at the end of the session, as well as if the chatting is not, if the writing of the question is not convenient, maybe you can unmute yourself and you can discuss as well. So we basically we welcome all the questions, and we really want this session to be a very interactive session. Okay. So moving on to the next slide. Who are we? Yeah. So we are a startup. We started our company in 2015. We are Bangalore-based company. We are here in South Bangalore. And the registered name of our company is Chaturmanas Consultants Private Limited. You can visit our website chaturmanas.com for more details about us. In terms of services, we are purely concentrating on training and consulting services. So in terms of training, so we decided and we wanted to be in a very niche technologies, and that's the reason we picked up very niche technologies which is in the market, and we work on the ETOM, which is a telecom business process. From, you might have heard of TM Forum. We work on that. We work on SDN, NFV, which is network function virtualization, and then SD-WAN. We work on NetConf and YAN. And in terms of cloud, we are onto AWS and Azure. And then we also work on Seven, which is a performance management tools. So we work only on these technologies. It's not a training institute as such. Chaturmanas is not a training institute. It's an organization which works only on corporate training and consulting in these niche areas. In terms of trainings that we offer a mix of standard training, then certification based training, and a custom training. So custom training is usually for the companies wherein the companies invite us to have a mix and match of different technologies within the span of certain days, and they allow us to go and deliver that particular training. That's what we do as part of custom training. Otherwise, we also deliver the standard training on the different technologies, those have been mentioned there, as well as the certification oriented training, those have been mentioned there. Okay, I do not want to go through each one of them. You can also visit our website chaturmanas.com, and you can look at the contents that we cover in each one of them as well. You can also approach us, reach us, and we will be able to provide you with those training details as well. In terms of experience, so we have been doing this training from almost 5 years now. We started our company in 2015, and so far we are fortunate to work with some of very larger organizations. And if you look at the volumetric that we have, so far we have delivered I think 50 plus corporate training on the SD and NFV. I think this is quite a big number comparing to our competition in the market. I think this is a pretty big number that we have, and all these 50 trainings we have delivered largely in India, and we have 50 plus corporate training delivered on AWS cloud. Then we have conducted several open batches as well. We also have several open batches, those have been announced, and you can visit our website to see those schedule as well on AWS cloud and SDN. Then we have done corporate trainings for a larger organizations on 7 performance management tools, and we were part of many induction programs and all as part of our experience. We did consulting projects as well on the e-com and other technologies. In terms of our relationship with the other companies, so we are authorized training partners and exam providers for ONF, TLF, Seven, and MEF. We work with some of the business partners like ePrayag, Linovate, Master Skills, Siddhi Softtech, KnowledgeWorks. Some of our esteemed clients are around Wipro, Trians, Vodafone, BT, Virtusa, Tech Mahindra, and all these different companies that we work with, where we regularly conduct training for them. In terms of our team, Chaturmanas has been started by 3 of our members. So let me start with Mr. K.N. Vijay Kumar, who has overall 30 years of experience in the IT. He is an expert in software defined networking as well as an ETOM in the ETOM area. He is certified on SDN at an expert level. He is a SD-WAN certified professional, plus he is an ETOM certified professional. Then we have Prashant Radhakrishna, who is an SME on Seven and SD-WAN solution. So he's a SD-WAN professional as well as expert, and then he's an expert on Seven technologies. And myself is Santosh. I'm basically a cloud expert. I work on AWS as well as Azure. I have 4 certifications from AWS and 1 certification from Azure. So this is the team that we have, and because of our passion for the training, we ourselves will deliver the training to the corporates on the niche technologies, those we have explained earlier. And in this particular event, Vijay Kumar and Prashant Radhakrishna will drive this event in terms of having a very interactive session and explain all about the SD-WAN. So let me give a little brief about this meetup, why we started this particular group. So this is nothing to do with the commercial. We started this group purely to have a knowledge sharing session. We really would like to invite all the interested participants to join this group and have a knowledge sharing session. And we do not want to restrict ourselves only to give the knowledge sharing. We also welcome to the other host as well as industry experts, like anyone of you who already worked on SDN and SD-WAN and who has something to share with the rest of the participants. We welcome you to be host as well. Please come and share your experience on the benefit of the other participants. So we want to keep this meetup group purely for knowledge sharing sessions, no commercials attached. So I welcome everyone, I entertain everyone, whoever has an experience, to come and share their experience as well through our group. So this particular event, so this is an SD-WAN hype or future. So we are going to talk a lot about SD-WAN today. And in this discussion, as I mentioned, Vijay Kumar and Prashant are going to share their experience in terms of the frequently asked questions about SD-WAN, and they will try to address those questions. Feel free to have your questions on the chat, and we will definitely address at the end of the event, as well as if you are not comfortable in chatting, or if the question is big, then maybe you can you can unmute yourself and speak up as well. We welcome you that. Okay, so let's try to have it quite an interactive session, and I really want everyone to make a benefit out of this event. Okay, so with this, I will hand over to Vijay Kumar and Prashant to continue with this particular event. So over to you, Vijay and Prashant.
Hey, hi. Thanks, Santosh, for a brief introduction. And this is Prashant here. I welcome all of you to this meetup session, and I hope this will be a useful session. And as Santosh was saying, we are open for any type of questions. Feel free to ask your questions over chat, or you can also have all your questions lined up, and we have a QA session where we can try to answer your questions during the QA sessions as well. So we try to do this as an interactive session between myself and Vijay Kumar. And to start with, as we all know, the topic of this meet is SD-WAN a hype? Let me ask this to Vijay Kumar to start with. Hi, Vijay. Good morning.
Yeah, hi,
Uh,
good morning, Prashant, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the this discussion.
Yeah. So Vijay, we have been hearing about SDN, NFE, these technologies for almost a decade, but we have seen very little implementation of this to the extent that it was talked about, right? And if you look at SD-WAN as it's become a buzzword, right? We have been hearing about SD-WAN since last 5 years, but at least in last 2 years I've seen everybody, including vendors, pushing a lot of solution into the market, service providers offering SD-WAN managed services, and customers trying to do a POC and try to evaluate this SD-WAN solution in a hurry. Is this a kind of a hype, or is this going to take a similar it's going to lead into the similar situation as its predecessors like SD and NFV? So you have been interacting with a lot of corporates delivering SD and NFV training, and as you are also a member of ATP for ONF and MEF. So can you just elaborate your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? Is it going to be a hype, or it's going to be a future?
Yeah, Prashant, it's a right observation in terms of the technologies like SDN and NFV, which were actually being spoken about a lot, whereas that has not really taken off as per the expectation. Whereas SD-WAN is slightly different. So let's just briefly touch upon these technologies. Okay, SDN as such is separation of control plane and data plane functionalities of network devices, with which it's expected to have uh, the programmability to be built into the data plane or a forwarding plane, and everything could be controlled from a controller or a centralized control plane. And that was the expectation. And with this, people were looking at the entire networking paradigm to be shifted, and that really didn't take off to that extent because of various reasons. And let's for this session, let's not get into those things much. However, SDN didn't see much of a practical implementations except probably in data centers, where it was actually providing certain value addition in terms of simplifying the operations. And similarly, NFV, for that matter, if we look at it, is a network function virtualization, and as a technology, a brief definition for that would be a separation of software from a network function in network device in from its hardware, and enabling it to virtualize it. And what people expected when we virtualize this, it can be implemented anywhere as if it's a cloud, and orchestration can be done, and from a multiple this one, and it can be used anywhere was the kind of an expectation. Again, due to some of the reasons like the life cycle orchestrations was not, the good solutions were not there, and the performance related issues with reference to NFV and stuff like that. Even NFV was not really seen as a very good solution from a practical implementation point of view. There is a lot of challenges, and people are working towards addressing these challenges, and not many use cases with these technologies as such, right? And if we just look at this slide, um, you can see that SDN and NFV, which have been being spoken for about almost about 8 to 10 years, and still it has not picked up much. Only SDN to a certain extent has seen some implementations. However, SD-WAN has actually become a buzzword, as you rightly mentioned, and everyone is talking about it, and there is a lot of implementations also that are happening. And SD-WAN has quickly emerged. And just to briefly provide a definition for SD-WAN, SD-WAN is nothing but a technology which makes use of both SDN and NFV together and provides WAN solutions. And this will be a smart WAN solution which is being used by many of the enterprises and even the service providers. And as you see, there is actually a big, I mean, it has really taken off here, and it has become a big use case, and many people have started using it. And so with this, I would like to say this would not take the same path of its predecessors like SDN and NFV. And SD-WAN has already taken off, and that's going to be the future of the WAN technology.
So, Vijay Kumar, what you're saying is it's not a hype, but it is the WAN future. It's a smart WAN future. So that means SD-WAN should be bringing in a significant benefits to our customers, right? Be it an enterprise or service provider. They must be seeing significant use cases and benefits. Otherwise, everybody would not be jumping into even evaluating these solutions. So can we discuss, or can you highlight three key features that's going to benefit customers, that is making this as a one of the optimistic and future-looking WAN solution?
Yeah, sure. So typically, if we look at use cases for SD-WAN, I would also like to consider them as probably kind of drivers for this SD-WAN technology to be taking off so sharply. So the first one being the digital transformation. And SD-WAN actually plays a role of enabler for digital transformation, which also involves applications being migrated to the cloud as part of the transformations. And that being one of the biggest use cases. And um, other use case is application aware routing. So where people expect the application based on the priority of the applications, the routing to be done in an intelligent way. And the next one being bringing in the simplicity for the operations of the WAN network. So these are the three key use cases I would like to mention as part of the drivers for SD-WAN.
Digital transformation is a bigger, I would say, strategic decision that organizations takes, and every company is looking into getting a digital transformation. So, what is the role of SD-WAN in enabling digital transformation to the customers, Vijay Kumar?
Um, yeah, uh, digital transformation is definitely one of the key strategy that is being taken up by the CEOs or CXOs of many of the organizations. And everyone is actually looking at getting into this. And almost every industry is moving towards embracing digital technology. And everyone is actually looking at the transformation part. And as part of this, uh, we have noticed that majority of the applications, the business applications that are being used, are all being migrated to cloud. And this in turn brings in agility and ease of operations and stuff like that, and also provides a much better customer experience. And that's the reason why many of the CEOs have adapted this as a key strategy. And currently, about 70% of the applications are being moved to cloud, and that's as part of some of the survey uh, inputs. And what happens is, yes, this is all a part of digital transformation. However, when these applications are moved to cloud, the traditional WAN actually does not allow enterprises to take advantage of this cloud technology. Though the applications are moved to cloud, the existing WAN architecture requires the traffic to be from a remote locations like branches to be backhauled to the data center or their headquarters to apply all their corporate policies or security policies and stuff like that, and then actually taking it to the cloud. This is not an efficient way of managing this, and that's where the traditional WAN is having bottlenecks or challenges, and SD-WAN plays a key driver role in terms of this enablement. And SD-WAN brings in the required agility to this digital transformation part of it.
Hi, Vijay Kumar.
Yes.
Can you please let me know more about application aware routing?
Yeah, sure. We will be discussing on this also. We will take up this application over there.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Vijay, how does this SD-WAN in terms of providing a better connectivity to the cloud-hosted applications, how does it differ from the existing traditional WAN architecture? How does it do? Is it something like it provides a direct connectivity to cloud applications and what it is? Could you little bit elaborate on what an SD-WAN service is so that audiences can understand? Because we've been talking about, we can see in the traditional WAN, the branches are connected to the data centers through the expensive MPLS links, and the branches also have internet connections. And what I understand from your explanation is that though customers are moving their workloads to the cloud, like Office 360 or Salesforce or any other SaaS-based solutions, and branches having internet connectivity are not able to connect to these SaaS-based applications directly from the branches because of the backhauling of traffic through the MPLS network. So how does SD-WAN, like, can you just elaborate a little bit more on concepts, what an SD-WAN service is? There are a lot of confusion over it. People really, I don't think, whenever I talk to customers and people around looking for SD-WAN services, they still have a bit of a confusion of what an SD-WAN service is and what to expect from it.
Yeah, sure, Prashant. Let's take a look at how does this SD-WAN work, and especially the transport independent kind of a technology and stuff like that. So now, for that, I would like to first look at it from the network infrastructure for providing the WAN connectivity. Okay, right. Today, whether being let's say traditional WAN networking technology, so we have multiple modes of communications or in whatever underlay connectivity services that we have would be like it could be most of the cases it is MPLS private MPLS links that have been used by the corporates for actually providing the connectivity between the branches or remote locations to their head offices or data centers, right? And then they also have the public internet related this one for some of the connectivities, right? And these are the mechanisms which are normally used, and there could be various different. When we say public internet, there could be links like the public broadband or any kind of an internet connectivity, including even 4G LTE kind of a network connectivity, right? So with all these things, remote locations, like as you see, a branch office, which is here at the left side, could be connected to any other branch offices or to the data centers. And uh, we would be requiring it to be connected to the cloud also, as I mentioned about the as part of digital transformation or a movement to cloud kind of a requirement. So this being the underlay infrastructure, basically what happens is SD-WAN defines overlay network. Okay, so this is a virtual network or virtual circuit that would be defined here on top of this existing underlay network. And this virtual networks are transparent to the users, and they don't really need to worry which links are being taken for this connectivity to be established. And that basically establishes the connectivity from here to there without being aware of what exactly is the underlying network that's being used. And that's the overlay network part that is brought in as part of the SD-WAN here. Uh, hope that provides a quick and brief explanation on overlay that's provided by SD-WAN.
So, Vijay, what we are seeing here is customers are having the existing underlay connectivity services like MPLS, which normally is used to connect branches to the data centers, and they have public internet to connect to the internet. But with SD-WAN, we are creating a overlay virtual circuits connecting the same branch to the cloud or to the other sites using one of these links. Traditionally, customer only uses MPLS to connect to the branch to the data center and transfer all their business critical applications because branch needs a secure access and branch needs a highly performing network for their business applications, and they don't use the public internet. Now you're saying with SD-WAN, customers can make use of their public internet, which is a broadband network that they would have to connect to the branches or to the cloud apps. So with this virtual overlay networks being transport independent and using the underlay connectivity services. But how does this provide a required performance at the branch? Branch users might be accessing the cloud apps, users might be using the accessing the applications in the data center, and they would need a defined performance for their applications, right? How does SD-WAN provide that guaranteed performance?
Yeah. Let's just take a look at this high level, I would say, a kind of an architecture for SD-WAN. And as we notice here, so this SD-WAN edge that what we have mentioned here are the branch devices, or it could be any of the remote locations which are being connected. And now, as we see here, the connectivity could be through either MPLS or through the internet, right? And this can be any of the application traffic can move across any of this, right? And in fact, the traffic might even move to this cloud applications for accessing any of these cloud applications, right? And this is where the question of even the application aware routing comes into picture actually. So now the business users, if you look at it from who are there in these branches using these business applications, they actually do not worry about which connectivity that's being used, be it MPLS, private MPLS, or public internet kind of a link. So they all that they want is the better performance of the application with the required level of security. And this is what is achieved by application aware routing feature of SD-WAN, which allows identification of the application traffic that's coming to these edge devices at the branches, right? And once this is identified, then depending on the business priority attached to that application, it can take, the edge device can choose the path of which is going to be used. Okay, and this will all be based on the criteria like the centralized policies that would be defined based on security policies or performance metrics like jitter, latency, and user experience and stuff like that. And with this, what happens is applications can move on to either, I mean, it can take either the private MPLS link or onto the internet. And now the best part of SD-WAN would come in here in terms of, let's say, if a particular link has certain performance related issues. Now, the, the edge device keeps monitoring the performance metrics like jitter and latency of all the links. And then based on that, uh, based on whatever the requirements that are there, performance requirements for an application, it can dynamically switch between these links. Either, I mean, it might be taking an internet link, and if it is required, it can move to MPLS or vice versa. So this kind of a dynamic path switching is allowed as part of SD-WAN, and that intelligence is brought into these edge devices, and that's actually programmed from the centralized controller from here to this, and that's actually makes the SD-WAN very interesting and very good use case in terms of applying this. And with this, many people also have seen um, a kind of a cost reduction. Instead of going for multiple private MPLS links, which are expensive, they actually look at even having a kind of a internet links as a backup path and stuff like that. And this is what makes SD-WAN more interesting and attractive for people to get into this technology and implementation of this.
Okay, so application aware routing brings in that intelligence where the dynamic and policy decisions are implemented at the edge through the controller, and dynamic routing based on application awareness is achieved. So that's the application aware routing feature. I think this has been looked at as a very key benefit in terms of ability to dynamically route the traffic between uh, uh, multiple underlay connectivity services, be it internet or MPLS, based on the business requirements. It's very interesting. But for me, Vijay, we are introducing a overlay network, which are like virtual tunnels. For me, it looks like we are going to have multiple connectivities from one branch to another branch, or to the data center, or to the internet, from what we used to have in traditional network, a single link. And also we are bringing in the controller, orchestrator, and then the application aware policy which customer needs to understand and define. All this looks like, are we not building a very complex network from a traditional and straightforward network that we have today in terms of connecting two different sites? If it is going to be complex, then I saw you mentioning operational simplicity as one of the use case. So how are we going to get this operational simplicity with this complex? For me, it looks like, as an end user, it looks like we are making it more complex than what it is today.
Yep, very interesting question, actually. So let me address this question from two parts. Okay, one, let me look at it as the time to market point of view, right? So now, when we look at this remote sites or remote locations to be brought in, any new locations to be introduced, with a traditional networking approach, it actually depends on the last mile connectivity, right? And the last mile connectivity takes a lot of time for rolling out a new site, especially if it is something like a, MPLS network. And many of the cases, there are examples where customers had to wait for about 3 to 6 months just for having the last mile connectivity to be established before they set up their branches or retail outlets at their remote locations. So that being a challenge with reference to having a last mile connectivity. Uh, traditional WAN suffers from that, and there will be a delay in terms of implementation. However, if we look at it from SD-WAN point of view, as I mentioned, it's a transport independent network where uh, I can have an underlying connectivity service, any kind of an underlying connectivity service. As you see here, it could be an internet or it could be MPLS. And to start with, if I have to just start my operations instead of waiting for the last mile connectivity. See, normally business cannot wait for the connectivity to be established, right? Especially if it is a matter of 3 to 6 months. So then better to look at alternate options. So one of the options could be like if we have a any kind of an internet, be it let's say 4G LTE connectivity. So with that, if I'm able to provide a connectivity and yes, since SD-WAN is a transport independent network, and if it can provide me the secure access to my other locations and even to the cloud and stuff like that. Yes, availability, I mean, the performance of the link could be a little bit of a challenge here. However, the initial business requirements of any new branches or new setups would not be that high. And with that, we will be able to establish the connectivity and start the business. And so you can kickstart your business within no time, and it actually comes down to a matter of a couple of days rather than 3 to 6 months. And that's one big advantage that people would get, and this makes the new site rollout a very simple activity. And in addition to this, let me also bring up another key point which comes up with reference to SDN with a new site rollout. And that's actually a concept called zero touch provisioning, which many people refer to that as ZTP, right? So what does this zero touch provisioning do? Is that if I have to roll out a new site, all that I need to do is just ship the CPE or the edge device to that location, and it doesn't require too much of technical expertise here to set it up. Just switch it on and connect it to the network. And if you have an internet connectivity, like as I said, it could be LTE or any of those connectivity. And from using that, this edge device actually connects to the central control plane. And this is where we make use of the SDN technology of a data plane and control plane. And now this edge device becomes a data plane which is getting connected to the controller. And controller, there will be, I mean, they will exchange the security certificates. And then once that is done, the controller will start pushing the configurations to the edge devices automatically. And this makes the configurations of these edge devices and in fact rolling up a new site becomes much easier. And this adds up to the reduction of time, and that way time to market for customers actually is reduced drastically. And this brings in the simplicity with reference to rolling out a new site, Prashant.
So for me, it looks like one, customers can use their existing, they don't have to wait for a traditional MPLS network to be provisioned to bring up the branch, which is a time to market, you said. And the zero touch provisioning enables branch to be set up quickly, so without requiring any network engineer to visit the site. So this is the day zero part of the management. And when we look at day one, how does SD-WAN help in managing the day-to-day operations? Does it simplify that part of the operations as well?
Yes, it's a great point that you have brought out, Prashant. Actually, when you start looking at any of the new technology, it is not sufficient if you just look at it from the day zero or day one, and just the implementation point of view. Yes, as I mentioned, the new site rollout will actually be very quick. However, what happens, or what is the kind of a benefit that this new technology brings in from a operation simplicity, from a day-to-day operations, or what we call it as day-to activities, right? Which involves let's say some configuration changes or addition of new sites as per the business requirements, and probably some security policies that needs to be changed and stuff like that. So now all of this can be actually defined from the centralized controller, which helps to make it as a consistent policy, which is driven from the corporate this one, and which can be actually pushed to all the edge devices, or all the branch locations. And especially if you look at it from a perspective of some business having the remote locations in terms of 100, or maybe some of them like retail outlets and stuff like that, they will have even thousands of retail outlets. Or if you look at a bank as an example, all the branches of the banks will be in thousands. So if we need to look at pushing these configurations, it's much easier now. It's just a click of a button. Whereas if you compare it to the traditional WAN, it was necessary to do it as a box by box configuration. It might not have required a engineer visit, site visit, but still it was necessary to log into each of those boxes and then make those changes, and ensure all those changes are done in a proper way, and that makes the network operations or operators life very cumbersome. But with SD-WAN, it all becomes much simpler, and it's just a matter of defining the policy and then pushing it to the remote locations. And this is one of the major benefits that is brought in from a SD-WAN. And it makes
It's
actually the whole network to be behave in a consistent and predictable way, and that's that's another beauty of this.
That sounds interesting. All these three use cases looks very promising, and no doubt why customers are jumping in to evaluate SD-WAN solution, and we see hundreds of vendors pushing their solution into the market. I could really see every product vendor is now offering a SD-WAN solution, and customers are jumping in to evaluate and even implement SD-WAN solution. So do you think it's ready for customers to blindly migrate to SD-WAN solutions? Or do you think are there any challenges in adapting SD-WAN solution?
Sure, yes, of course. As any new technology, SD-WAN also has certain challenges. For that matter, any technology will have benefits and certain challenges for implementing those technologies, right? So SD-WAN also has similar challenges, and security is one of the major challenge with reference to this, right? And then we have other challenges also. Well, but let me just look into the security first. Um, Now, what happens with SD-WAN is that we are trying to utilize the public broadband connectivity also as part of our WAN. So many people look at it as an extension of WAN by using public broadband. Okay. But with that, it brings in a major challenge with reference to uh, the security part, because now what happens is if you're having your system or your applications and these things exposed to the public internet, then there's always a challenge. Although SD-WAN provides a secure tunnel, but that secure tunnel will ensure the data flowing from the remote locations to other locations in a secured way. However, this will still have a challenges of malware attacks, malicious attacks for these things, right? and exposure to malware as applications are moved to cloud, and protection from unwanted web contents is also required. So, which can be seen with this uh, diagram here. So, you have multiple challenges that would be looked at from a security point of view. Because now since it is open to the, I mean, the data is flowing through the public internet also, so we need to look at protecting all these. So that's where the security protection becomes one of the key challenge which needs to be addressed. And in fact, this also has become one of the key requirements from many of the users, right? So initially, when SD-WAN was started, people were actually looking at reduction of capex and opex. That's capital expense and operational expense to as one of the major benefit. However, it's that's no longer a key driver for moving towards SD-WAN. So people are looking at having a better security, and expectations have changed. So people actually look at SD-WAN to provide a much better security as part of their solutions, right? And providing a good SD-WAN solution with a good security is definitely a challenge, which many of the vendors are working towards that.
And Vijay, with many of these vendors, I could see at least 100 vendors offering SD-WAN solutions. So, don't you think there is a requirement and need for a standardization, or is there anything that is already been done on that? Otherwise, from my view, that becomes a major challenge when you consider a service provider requiring to integrate multiple vendor solutions for their end customers. Like take an example of large service provider offering a managed services, so they might have to deal with multiple SD-WAN services, and also maybe for an enterprise customer it is one single vendor, but if you look at service providers offering managed services, they might have to deal with multiple SD-WAN vendors. So is there challenges there, and is there a standardization coming in, or how is this going to kind of work in collaboration and make things easier for customers?
Yeah, very good observation. What happens is, as you rightly mentioned, SD-WAN is being embraced by both types of customers. I would say the enterprises who are actually implementing it by themselves, and the other one is the service providers, like BT or Airtel. These people providing these SD-WAN services as part of their managed services. So they are actually adding these things to that. I mean, this demand to the managed services offerings, right? And with this, there also comes up another challenge now, especially for service providers with managed services. Uh, their clients, they would have already had certain SD-WAN solution. It could be like something like Cisco, Viptela, or as you see, we have only listed a few SD-WAN vendors here from SD-WAN controller point of view. It could be a Silver Peak or Velo Cloud, any of these things. And if they already have it, then they would expect the service providers to provide their managed services around that without making any changes or without reinvesting onto this. And this makes it necessary for the service providers to actually provide a SD-WAN solution which would be able to integrate with any of these SD-WAN solutions being provided by multiple vendors. Uh, and for that, actually, it's important to ensure that they're all integrated properly and they will be able to interoperate with each other in an efficient way. And that's where the standards come into picture. And now there are not many standards related to this, especially the SD-WAN part of it. And MEF Metro Ethernet Forum has made an attempt to standardize some of these things by defining what is an SD-WAN solution, what are the attributes of that, and how should each one of them behave, and how can they integrate with each other. And in fact, MEF also has defined many of the APIs, like as you see here, lifecycle service orchestration APIs. And using all of this, we should be able to actually look at providing a standardized, consistent solution. However, having said this, this is an attempt from MEF to provide a standardized solution, but are vendors actually looking at implementing these standards? As of now, they're still not completely aligned to them. So they're all making an attempt to this again, and it is still some time far from current response in terms of implementation of this integration of this. So this will remain as one of the key challenge for the service providers, and it is just not the multiple SD-WAN solution vendors. Now, as these SD-WAN solutions can be implemented over cloud also, like just a simple example, Cisco Viptela controller can be actually implemented on cloud. So that way, many of these service provider, I mean, vendors provide these cloud-based solutions, and it can be on any kind of a cloud. So integration of that multi-cloud based solution also becomes another challenge. So this is something which needs to be addressed. But however, MEF has taken a first step and defined MEF 70, which is standards for SD-WAN, and it's moving towards that. So we are getting there, but it still takes some time.
Okay, so it sounds a very interesting challenge to solve, but I think standardization should help, and vendors and customers should move in towards adopting to the standards. So then everyone's life would be easy.
Yes. I would also like to
Okay.
just showcase the definition of SD-WAN from a standardization point of view, from a Gartner, how they have defined it, right? So Gartner defines SD-WAN in this way. Okay, if you notice this, it's basically the features that are expected from SD-WAN. So SD-WAN should be able to provide a lightweight router against the existing transports, and should be able to provide simplified orchestrations and dynamically route traffic, which we discussed earlier, right? Dynamic path switching. And then,
Vijay, with this, I have a very interesting question from Venkat. We discussed about application aware routing, and the question is, this sounds very similar to the policy based routing in the traditional networks. How does application aware routing differ? Do you want to a little bit touch upon that?
yes. So what happens here as a difference from policy-based routing is, if you ask me, it is an extension or enhancement of policy-based routing. But the key thing here is identifying the application and prioritizing those applications, and how should that application traffic be treated by the edge device, and that's what becomes very key here. And majority of the service or product vendors for these solutions, right, SD-WAN solutions, actually uh, provide this capability of identifying these applications, and they have some of these applications as part of their repository, and with which it makes it much easier to take up this, I mean, any of the traffic which is coming in, classifying it into that specific application, and then how should that be treated. And now, see, policy-based routing is all based on your IP address, and they are more of a network-based kind of a routing, whereas application-aware routing is irrespective of the network, purely based on the application performance and requirements, and even the security requirements for those applications. And all of that can be defined as a centralized policy, and that makes it different.
So basically, we are moving from defining a quality of service based on network parameters to an application awareness. So ability to identify layer 7 application and taking a dynamic policy decisions, which is deployed through controllers. So that
Yes,
is okay.
yes.
Okay,
So
I hope Ayush, I hope Venkat that answers your question. Okay,
yeah. So there are various different types of definitions for SD-WAN actually, but MEF is again making it an attempt to standardize it, and we have also included MEF definition here for the benefit of audience to understand that.
okay, okay. Thanks, Vijay. I think it was a very interesting discussion. I think we were able to understand what an SD-WAN service is and what are the use cases that is driving this uh, uh, MEF. Sorry, driving this SD-WAN technology, wherein customers are hurrying up to evaluate and implement, and vendors are pushing their solutions. It looks like it is addressing key traditional networking challenges. And I hope with the standardization and more maturity, things will get much better. I have one more interesting question from Ayush. Is there any connection between SD-WAN and 5G technology? So how is it going to? So I think this is another thing, right? Everybody is talking about edge in 5G, and we are also talking about an intelligent separating control plane and having just a data plane with the edge, having more control capability at the controller. So is there a play between SD-WAN and 5G technology? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, yes, SD-WAN and 5G would be definitely be related. Now, as you already mentioned, the 5G is about in terms of defining network slices and stuff like that, and also bringing in the intelligence to the edge, right? And as we have discussed so far, the edge devices that we have been looking at as a data plane as part of the SD-WAN, right? And we are actually programming the intelligence into that. And with that, these edge devices can also behave very, very smartly, and then they can start taking certain decisions by themselves. So with that, it actually uh, builds, or I would say it lays the platform or a foundation for the 5G kind of a this one. And 5G, what we look at it is all about in terms of various different network slices which have been defined and allocated for different kind of use cases, different kind of applications. Okay, and now in SD-WAN, we have looked at making it an application-aware routing. Now, when we start looking at 5G, can we extend this application-aware routing to be actually assigned to a particular network slice, and then allocate a specific slice to that specific application, and to be able to manage that? So that's the way things are being looked at as a relationship between SD-WAN and 5G.
Okay. So so there is a role that SD-WAN plays in migrating to 5G technologies. Okay, so now what is the industry outlook? So yes, SD-WAN, the vendors lining up their products, customers are evaluating, and also implementing. Service providers started offering managed services. But what is the roadmap? Are there any surveys showing what is the business potential of SD-WAN? um, uh, the technology, and what are the dollars? If there are, what is the business looks like? What is the business outlook looks like? Do you have any survey data points that can be demonstrated?
Yes, uh, let us look at some of those this one. So SD-WAN has become a buzzword, and everyone is looking at it to be a very big revenue generator for many of these. This one. And that's why, if you look at it, there are 100 plus SD-WAN product vendors who joined the bandwagon, right? And that's and people see a huge revenue that can be generated. And this uh, graph actually shows what could be the expected revenue from SD-WAN, right? And as we see here, by 2022, uh, it would be the SD-WAN revenue that would be generated would be about 3.5 billion, right? And that's the kind of expectations that is there from one of this. This is one of the data points. Now let's look at a couple of other this one from a managed SD-WAN services point of view, where service providers will be offering these managed services. So there was some survey conducted by MEF along with Vertical Systems Group, and when they asked these service providers in terms of does your company offer managed services, managed SD-WAN service, about 89% of the people have said either we are offering now or it's planned in the very near future. And this survey was conducted in Q4 of 2018, not a very long time back. And so not planned was only 11%. But I'm sure even those people will be joining to offer these SD-WAN offerings, right? So let's also look at it from a managed services and corporate or enterprise based SD-WAN point of view. So now, if I look at this second chart, which is these two are actually from IDC, and as per the IDC analysis, uh, the SD-WAN managed services market would be about 4.5 billion USD by 2023, and this is expected to happen only in US as a geography. Okay, and from a global enterprise-based SD-WAN market, excluding the managed services, by 2023 it is expected to be about 5 plus billion USD, right? And in fact, this enterprise-related this one is also growing very fast, and in India also we have seen some of the startups who have actually started capturing this enterprise market in a big way. And yeah, so that's the trend across the globe. Um, and from the revenue from a SD-WAN service point of view, the projection is again from this light reading survey that has been done, or a light reading analysis. Um, so initially, I mean, if you look at 2019 here and 2022 to 23, if you notice the kind of revenue that's expected from SD-WAN here is very low, whereas the traditional WAN revenue is expected to be very high. Whereas if you notice from 22 to 23 scenario here, the expectations from SD-WAN has gone up significantly, and traditional network revenue has reduced. And that's what is actually being seen here as the uh, general trend. And all these are the survey or the market reports that we have. There are many more, but what we have captured is few of them to show how the SD-WAN market is actually moving.
Sure, Vijay. That sounds interesting figures. I think we have come to an end of this session. Unless anyone else has any other queries, maybe Santosh, over to you for a thank you note.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant, and thanks you, Vijay. I think it was a very interesting and very quite interactive discussion that we had, which touched upon many of the points. So before I go to other participants, I also have a doubt. Let me just clarify that. Uh, Say we have been working on MPLS since many years now. It's more than a decade, and I mean everyone is very comfortable with MPLS as well. I mean any organization, any networking that we think of is just think of is MPLS now. So Vijay, do you really think that SD-WAN is going to replace MPLS and all network engineers has to upskill themselves to SD-WAN? Is that the scenario? What is going to happen in near future now?
Yeah, very interesting and very common question. Actually, that comes up with reference to SD-WAN and MPLS. Yeah, many people actually have even written certain articles stating SD-WAN is going to kill MPLS, right? In my opinion, no, SD-WAN is not actually a replacement for MPLS. Uh, Basically, SD-WAN, if you ask me, it re-architects the WAN to make it a transport independent, which actually leverages on the any of the connectivity options. It could be MPLS or it could be LTE or any public broadband, any such things, right? So that's what it is going to be. With that, uh, dependency on MPLS might reduce because we are able to leverage on the public internet or broadband kind of a connectivity also. So the business for MPLS may not grow as it used to grow earlier, and that's one of the reasons why the service providers are quickly jumping onto SD-WAN services. But definitely that doesn't mean it is end of MPLS business, right? So that's how I see it actually.
Oh, great. That's a big relief, actually, the people who are working on MPLS KMJ. So, thanks for clarifying that. So, I think I leave it to the rest of the participants. If they have any questions, if they have already written it on the chat, I'm sure Prashant has covered them. If anyone is has any question, if they want to unmute themselves and ask the question, please feel free to do that. Uh, I'm assuming the silence is no. No one has a question. That's fantastic. So I think with this we have come to an end of this particular event. I again would like to thank everyone for joining this event. And I have recorded this session and I will put it on YouTube as well. And I will share the link with all the people and with all the members. Whoever could not able to join, they can go and refer to the recorded session of it. And as I mentioned earlier, the very intention of this particular event is to have a knowledge sharing session. So I encourage and I encourage all the participants to be more active in this. And even if you have any story to tell in terms of SDN, NFV, SD-WAN, if you have a story, if you have an experience, if you are doing something on that, and if you would like to share, please let us know. You can also be a host and share your experiences. So the only motto behind this event is knowledge sharing. Let's spread this knowledge across the community and across the members so that everyone take a benefit out of it. So with that, I again once again thanks everyone for joining this, and I hope we'll close the session now. Okay. Thanks everyone, and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you all. Thanks, Santosh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you all. Thanks a lot.